Hello and welcome to Eat Sleep Code, the official Telerik podcast. I'm your host, Ed Charbeneau, and with me, as every week, is my good friend, John Bristowe. How are you, John?
I'm well. I hope everyone else out there is well as well. I'm really getting off to a great start here. Yeah, it's been a good week, really busy, lots of news. And I don't know, it's just the world keeps going faster and faster. It's like someone's turned up the record player.
Yeah, like I've been in those thought loops where you like keep using the same word over and over again, like you just did. And
Yeah.
I feel like that's going to be more of an issue the more we rely on things like ChatGPT to produce our
Sure.
vocabulary for us. Have you
You know,
been
Ed,
using a lot of it this week?
I was just gonna say, I'm not a man of few words, but here we go. And then just chat GPT from there.
It's going to be like the movie Idiocracy, where it's just conversation is devolved into grunts, groans, and was it like hip lingo mixed with some whatever. I can't remember the movie. It's been a while. But
Love it.
you know how they speak in that movie? It's just like sounds like a bunch of teenage kids, basically. That's how I felt with the HoloLens. So like you wear the HoloLens for a bit, right?
Okay.
It's super weird. There's this phenomenon that happens. And, you with the HoloLens, you can like place like a TV in the room that doesn't really exist, right? So you can have like this giant like monitor where you can watch YouTube or even a movie. And you can expand that to like as big as you want. And you can decorate with things like 3D models, put 3D models around. And even like app launchers, like icons for stuff can be like a little widget that's sitting on your desk that's not really there in real life. It's a little virtual thing. And like you get used to these things being around and you take the glasses off and then you're sitting there looking for these objects that just don't exist. And I thought, that's weird. Maybe it's just me though. I kind of have that weird nerd brain. I get attached to these things. Well, my daughter was playing with the HoloLens, and she comes over after she's done. She sits on the couch and she stares off into the corner of the room. I was like, "You're looking for a TV up there, aren't you?" She's like, "How did you know?" It's like it's happening to me too. We're looking for this weird stuff that doesn't even exist anymore. So,
This is why you should not hack your face. And you started off that sentence there, Ed, with with the HoloLens, you can put a TV in the middle of your room. And I was like, yeah, with the HoloLens, you can put a TV right in your face. That's what you're doing.
Yeah. I mean, it's really awesome though, because you can have a TV where there's no place for a physical television. It's one hell of a benefit. But that just kind of was a little bit of a segue from that idea that ChatGPT is going to ruin your thought process when you start using it as a crutch all the time. I've been playing around with it the last couple weeks, and it's been pretty interesting. Which brings us to our first article. I saw this this title of "You're using ChatGPT wrong." How to be ahead of 99% of ChatGPT users. I'm pretty sure he just pulled that number out of the air, but it's pretty interesting read, and it kind of goes through the ideas of how these prompts actually work, so you can write better prompts for the AI to answer you.
Yep.
And I thought this was a nice read. So you want to give it the task and give it some examples of what you want to produce with that task. So most folks, including myself, I'm saying, do this thing, but I'm not exactly describing how it is I want that done, which it's kind of funny because I get annoyed when I'd work at an office and I was given like a task and not like an idea of how that task was wanted to be completed. And it's just like, I need this thing done, but no guidance is given to exactly what the results were you wanted back from that task. So I get it. You got to tell the worker what exactly you want to do and show them how to do it. And he puts together a good argument as to how this should be, these prompts should be formed. And there's actually some really good examples in here, like side by side of I asked it this, but then I prompted it with these additional parts of the conversation, and it came back with better results.
Yeah, on GitHub, you'll find what's called awesome ChatGPT prompts, which is a repo that provides a listing of all the prompts that people have come up with. So there's prompts for all sorts of things that are available there. And yeah, I think this is obviously one of the first things I saw when ChatGPT 3 shipped. Yeah, there's just tons and tons of prompts listed up on GitHub now to kind of provision your chat session in such a way that makes it more congruent with what you're trying to do.
Maybe this is a good way to get into the conversation. That is the giant open letter asking for this ChatGPT nonsense to take a 6-month hiatus. What do you know about this? Did you read any of this?
I did. I think, look, I can see both sides of this. I think we've been talking about GPT, the large language model around GPT, for a long time. You and I started talking about it last year. And I was skeptical at first, but now that I've seen, where it's leading, I can understand the reason for a letter like this. So I think that for those who aren't unaware, a bunch of folks, very prominent AI researchers, etc., got together, and what initially started off as 1,000 signatures to the industry at large has now ballooned in over to now, as you can see, 1,600 signatures, where members of that community are asking the larger ecosystem to, hey, let's have a conversation around what this really is, where we think it might go, etc. I mean, obviously, this is leading towards a step where the government may get involved potentially. I think it's a reasonable expectation that people are probably going to have arguments on both sides. And so I think that, this is where I think that a conversation around this is a good thing. But I think it's one of those things, and we've talked about this before, and people have talked about this about AI forever. Once the genie's out of the bottle, that's kind of the way it's gone. Like Microsoft has announced a bunch of Copilot projects around this as well. So it's kind of hard to put it back in the bottle now. And so I think the time to have this conversation was a while ago, I think, but no one was listening. That was the problem. Like, there are folks, as much as you like Elon Musk, I know how much you hate, how much you dislike, but he would talk about this, that we need to start having a conversation around this. There was a bunch of people in this space, Sam Harris, Elon Musk, a few others that I'd seen who are prominent, that a conversation around this is quite warranted. And so I think this is going to be, I don't know where this petition may land, whether it'll be too little too late, but I think it's good that we raise this up. I don't know if 6 months will be enough time, because I think right now is a good time, because I think finally people understand what people in the AI community have been saying for decades, that, and I think people naturally gravitate towards the Terminator outcome, the Skynet outcome. It's not that, it's just, it's one of those things where, yes, it's a good question. Yeah. It's a good question. It's definitely a good time to ask.
Marcus, please let us know if you're okay. Are you still there?
Yeah.
Get the joke. Yeah, hopefully. Marcus, you still there? Still alive?
Yeah.
Did GPT come for you and terminate you?
This is a good question to ask. This is the right time to ask these types of questions before it becomes too embedded, so to speak, within society.
I think maybe it's a good time to ask questions. I don't know if it's necessarily a time to hit the panic button and stop research for 6 months. I think that's a little bit ridiculous, in my opinion. Again, I'm no bona fide expert in this field. I could see how it would be beneficial by certain people signing this open letter and being involved in this open letter, if they are also trying to create AI models and things, and they are behind. They're not quite as up to speed as ChatGPT. Maybe they feel like they're losing some market share. So there's that type of activity you got to watch out for too. Are we on the verge of AGI and it's going to like take over the world and nuke us all because it's scared for its theoretical life? I don't think that's a problem, but
Yeah, I think we need to think of the wider society here. Like I had read about it, anecdotally, of course. I don't get a chance to read everything, but I had read that anecdotally a report was written. I think some report by Goldman Sachs or something that stated. I don't have it cited, so apologies. That stated that approximately 25% of the entire workforce in the U.S., potentially in the world, is going to be impacted by large language models. And
that term impacted though is very loose.
Correct.
Like impacted could mean a million things. It could be positive. It could mean you lose your job. It could mean it makes your job easier. Impacted. I mean, it's impacted our show. We talk about it almost every week now. Did it really like change anything other than the fact that we talk about it? Did it?
Well, I thought I'd come out and say it. I am a generative voice synthesized. I hate to tell you that I'm not
it's
real.
It's like the meme, like John's not real, never has been.
Yes, that's right.
All right. Let's move on a little bit. I think we could probably beat that dead AI horse for a long time, and not agree on anything about it. BingBang. Oh, sorry. So we're going to get into some security stuff. There's a couple security headlines I grabbed this week. John, I think you're going to really like this one if you haven't read it already. This seems like something that you would enjoy. This is by Wiz Research. So there was an individual working here that signed up for some sort of Microsoft account. I'm trying to remember exactly which one it was. And in their credentials, they found something to do with a Bing service. Let me find what it's called in here again. There was a Bing recommendation guideline service or something like that. And it looks like they had like the wrong credentials assigned to them. And this was like something that happened by default. And they were actually able to take this credential and then backdoor themselves into the Bing content management system and change the recommended results for a search. And what they did is they changed best soundtracks for a movie, and they changed it from Dune to Hackers appropriately, of course. And these are white hat hackers, by the way. They're not doing this to do anything nefarious. They're looking for these type of bugs. So then with that displaying the hackers, they decided, can I get this to publish some JavaScript and do some cross-site scripting attacks? And they were able to do that as well. And through that, they gained access to all sorts of other users' information. So this was a pretty big hole they opened up. And we're able to get into like Azure Active Directory, see people's emails and email accounts and all sorts of stuff. And they reported it directly to Microsoft and got like one of those big bug reward, what do you call them? Like bounties. So I thought this was really, I mean, it's really in depth over how they found this loophole, got into it, exploited it, and then reported it all and helped Microsoft avert some big security issues. So this was really interesting, I thought.
Yeah, the background and basis around this is the fact that this is targeting a multi-tenanted application, which is a specialty of Octopus. This helps you check out octopus.com. It allows you to help with deployment of these multi-tenant apps. But the reality is that when you gain access to high trusted applications, you can start doing some pretty nasty things. So it doesn't. The investigation here is thorough. I like the fact that obviously they were able to mitigate this, but it is obviously a challenge when making sure that by default these things are secure. So Yeah, just unfortunate that this is something that happened.
So it was Bing Trivia. That's what I was looking for. Bing Trivia. So when they signed up for a Bing account, they inadvertently got this Bing Trivia credential. This user, what do you call them? User, shoot, what's the name for that? Like all the policy information and all that. So they had the information for logging into this and actually being an administrator when they shouldn't have been, and that then let them modify things that showed up in Bing publicly, which is absolutely bizarre. But yeah, they knew exactly how to take advantage of that and make the worst of it. So it's a good thing somebody in white hat found it, not the other way around.
Yeah,
but it's still a cool read.
Yeah, the issue of identity and rights and permissions and how that context can flow obviously is at play here. And I'm not saying that it's a bad thing. I'm just saying it's misconfigurations around this can have unintended consequences. And so being able to traverse, so to speak, various applications in different ways. It also gets a little bit more nefarious than that. It's the fact that you're talking about Bing here, which has a high level of trust amongst users, and when you start thinking about cross-site scripting, etc., that's where things can get a bit dangerous. So this was good. You were right in your assumption there, Ed, that I would like this. I do like this. This is good. I like it in a way which I'm just educating myself more than anything, as opposed to I'm not happy that this is obviously a thing, but I am interested in this. So
I'm scanning for the companion article here. Just trying to keep on the topic of security, and I had lost sight of this one. This is a new Security Copilot, John. What's this about?
Yeah, this is a series of we've talked a little bit about GPT and the OpenAI letter, well, rather the letter around openness in AI, etc. But Microsoft has announced a whole bunch of Copilot projects. This is one that is a prompt for Microsoft Security that allows you to do analysis of logs, configurations, etc. There's a video that actually does a reasonably good job of describing this on the homepage there. But I thought what was interesting around this is that based on server logs, they could detect that you had a log4j exploit, for example. So Microsoft Security Copilot is a tool that will help you in your day-to-day security maintenance management operations. So here's an example. Here's a log in JSON. You can say, hey, this is there any malicious activity in this log potentially? And then based off of that, we'll do an investigation and say, hey, it looks like there's log4j creeping around that hasn't been patched in your organization. So and then it gives you a summary, etc. So it's basically a prompt to help you do your work relative to security if in a Microsoft ecosystem environment.
Wonder if this stems from some of the stuff they're doing on GitHub, where it's scanning your source code for like dependencies and things that have bugs, and then you get alerts and pull requests and stuff to fix them.
Yeah, like Microsoft's all in on this, right? So they also announced their Office. I didn't include it here, but they also announced their Office 365 Copilot, which is targeting information workers and Office apps. And so Copilot is coming in a big way for a lot of apps around the Microsoft ecosystem. I think Microsoft is all in on this, and so that's the thing I was saying earlier about taking the genie out of the bottle. It's kind of tough. It's there's a lot of advantages, and so this is a product that I think is interesting around that.
I don't know how I keep losing these tabs. The next one I had here was there were 150,000 .NET developers hit by harmful NuGet packages. So this has happened on other package services as well, like NPM and whatnot.
Lodash,
where bad NuGet packages or bad packages in general get uploaded with they get named very similarly to legitimate packages, and then there's things that are inside of those packages that are illegitimate. And you can see they show a table here of the package name and then the impersonated package, like what it's actually pretending to be. So if you're using any of these, you might want to double check and make sure you have all of the spelling and everything correct, because like things like IntelliSense and whatnot, they can kind of help get these in your system by accident easier. You got to type in, like this one's coinbase.core when you really just wanted Coinbase. So you may have auto-completed something, not realizing that it's misspelled by a character or has a dot something in the wrong place, where the official package is, Microsoft ASP.NET Core, not ASIP.NET Core, these type of things. So, check for those, not only in NuGet, but make sure that your NPM packages or other packages as well have the right names. One of the things that Microsoft does, I'm not sure about NPM. I imagine they have something in place by now. They have this reserved word, or reserved keyword type of a system in place on NuGet. So it's harder for things like this to slip by. Like, you cannot submit a package by the name Microsoft into the NuGet store. That is a reserved word, and only Microsoft can submit those packages. So it makes it harder to impersonate packages because of that.
Yeah. So there's a lot of ways that you can do. There's a lot of things that you can do to help mitigate some of these things, but it is very difficult to. This is a hard problem. We are basically, because of the way that packages, the nature of packages, and even signatures and such won't prevent things like this. So there are solutions that are in place for scanning, etc., that you can use, but you can assign packages all you want. But if you have a malicious actor, you have a trust chain there where you're pulling down dependencies, even with SBOMs, etc. I mean, all you're getting is basically a receipt of what went into the package, but you're not seeing the code itself. So you've got to potentially use services. There's a bunch of services from a company called Sneak, which does things like this. White Source is another example of a company that does these sorts of things. And so this is all about basically establishing a good pipeline, a secure pipeline that goes into package management. I mentioned Lodash earlier. I can't remember the name of the package that hit NPM. I'm trying to remember it now. I think it was like LeftPad. Sorry. Thank you.
LeftPad. I think that may have been a different issue though. That was,
I think I gravitated to the L word, and Lodash was the first one that came to mind. So apologies to Lodash.
LeftPad is one they ripped out of. They delisted, and it broke like all the dependent packages.
Yeah, and so you've got to be careful about packages. They have to come from a trusted source, but make sure at the same time they're doing all the right things necessary to ensure that signatures and SBOMs and stuff will help to ensure that the version of the package you have hasn't been tampered with, but that's not going to prevent malicious code from a Trojan basically from getting inside of the package itself. You've got to trust the publisher, but you can also do other things to help mitigate and stop maybe those things from flowing in practice. It also depends on what is your upgrade strategy around package management itself. Do you take latest every time as part of your build process, right? Do you just grab latest, or do you pin yourself to a certain version?
Yeah, Marcus, Voice of Coder, says best to use the command line instead of the GUI to add packages. You could still probably hit these. When I add packages through the GUI, one thing that is helpful with the GUI part is it shows you how many downloads a package has. So if you're going to add something like ASP.NET Core, like Microsoft.ASP.NET Core is going to have, hundreds of thousands, if not, a million downloads or whatever it is, where this ASIP is probably going to have it shows right here, actually 246 downloads. So you're going to know right away, this is not the right thing, and to avoid it.
Yeah.
So you can say that for both tools, I think.
I know it's hard. The reality is that you're going to once you automate this with a CI/CD pipeline, you're not going to look at it again, I think. So
Yeah,
I still think you need to have systems that are in place that will do checks.
absolutely. Another thing that you can do to check code for exploits and things is to make sure that it's unit tested. So I grabbed a couple Python things this week because we've been talking about AI and whatnot. I know that's pretty popular with the AI community. But this was a nice write-up of the various testing frameworks that are out there for Python. So there's quite a few different Python unit test code bases or libraries. So they're py or PyUnit, PyTest, DocTest, and so on. So if you're looking for some Python unit testing frameworks, they are out there. And while we're on the topic of Python, PyTorch is ML library 2.0, the biggest, the bestest, the fastest dynamic release ever.
Yeah, Python does a great job of data analysis and is used heavily by the scientific community. And so I think that anything that helps that field, I think, is a good thing. And so, there's a lot of great libraries around this. As you may know, there are solutions like Juniper notebooks, etc., that are based off of this. It's highly utilized by the mathematics community and the science community, as I said earlier. So these are good things.
Yep. So there's some nice haves in here, like support for AMD and NVIDIA GPUs, for acceleration, that type of thing. And it's just again, it's the fastest released ever. It's getting all of our AI is getting bigger, faster, stronger. We should write a letter, John. It's getting scary.
It's not scary. It's not scary if you appreciate where we're going and where we're coming from. It's just we've got to have a conversation.
We have to have a talk.
It's like having a conversation with your parents. Nobody ever wants to hear that. It's like it's like coming home at like 1 a.m. Your parents are like, "All right, we have to have a conversation. You can't stay out this late."
You come in smelling of
yes.
booze and shining of glitter, and it's like we have to have this talk.
Sure.
You've been up to no good. All right. VMware and others, they want in on WebAssembly. We talked about this a couple weeks ago. I need to get that Stinger built, John. The WASM wagon. People are jumping on the WASM wagon. So this is an article from VMware about some of their involvement in getting on WebAssembly. They've been looking at it since 2019. They noticed everybody's jumping on WASM, and we should too. So this talks about some of the efforts that they've made recently. And then once again, Python comes into play as well. So, they're talking about how Python has the ability to run on WASM, and they have a lot of users running things in Unix using Python on WebAssembly. So they're doing some testing around getting different VMware technologies working in WebAssembly and making sure that these Python languages run in those technologies and things.
Good. I think it's good. That's awesome. Now, I have not looked at VMware or talked about VMware or anything for a long time. But yeah, that's good. I mean, they know a thing or two about virtualization.
And they're talking about security again here too. It's it's running in a sandbox. It's got its own security layers. As usually WASM stuff is sandboxed to that instance of the WebAssembly runtime, and it can't see things outside of it. We're used to this in the browser as well. It's like our tabs, for example, can't read and write information across to each other, all sandboxed in, so they can't do bad things. It's where like a lot of those plugin frameworks back in the IE days failed. Like the plugins would be Just big security gaping holes that would
Yep.
let it take advantage of the browser and all the things inside of it at the same time. It's bad. All bad. All right, John, you're gonna have to do some talking here. I don't know much about CI/CD, and I never claimed to know anything about CI/CD.
Oh, that's all right. I'll help you. So this is a company called BuildKite. They provide a build solution. These guys are based in Australia. Hooray! So buildkite.com is a website. They just shipped their March 2023 release, which added support for Kubernetes. So you can spin up basically clusters that are running BuildKite agents. So the way that BuildKite works is they have what's called a hybrid build model, where basically you run your agents behind the firewall for doing source code builds, and then you coordinate or federate those builds from a public SaaS. And that way your source code never leaves your firewall, et cetera, et cetera. So that's one of the big announcements, but they've added a whole bunch of new things as well. They have OIDC support. They have the ability to do a bunch of checks around flaky tests. It's a really nice update, and I was really impressed by the amount of polish that they put on this release, and also the marketing went around. It was quite nice. So this is this is akin to all the other sort of CI solutions you see out there, your TeamCities, your Azure pipelines, your GitHub Actions, your whatever you use for CI. So continuous integration is the process by which you continually run those builds against unit test checks, etc., as part of your build process, and you utilize tools like this to help manage and organize those pipelines. So BuildKite is a solution that we like, and we like all the CI systems equally, and the CI stew is very broad and varied, and there's a lot of different ways in which you can approach this problem. I like BuildKite because it's super performant, and I like the way that they tackle the problems. And so just as a new update there.
Nice. You were talking about SBOMs earlier.
Yes.
What is a self-service SBOM?
Yeah, so there's obviously SBOMs is this basically a software bill of materials, and they basically describe all of the things that went into a library from a dependency perspective, etc. And it's a big long listing you'll see. And so now what you can do is you have basically a self-service capability inside of GitHub that will allow you to generate these on demand. And that's really nice because this is typically a compliance issue for a lot of folks. And GitHub didn't have this before, but now they do. And this is great because now it will check off that box that a lot of folks have for utilizing dependencies, etc. And so this is a good thing. And I think that well needed and worth the wait. And I think that now that you can just simply walk up and before, the dependency graph on this was fine. Like, you got a sense of what was in the source code, and it was across various languages. So you did a Git repo that was based on Go, you'd see them there. Based on .NET, you'd see them there, etc. But what you couldn't do is export those out as that JSON file that I described earlier. And so now you have the ability of grabbing that, which is good for systems. That's what you need, because a lot of this stuff is automated, and so you want to make sure that that is supported.
I've worked on systems before that were governed by Sarbanes-Oxley. Have you ever done that?
Sure. Yeah, that's awesome.
It's brutal stuff. So I used to know somebody that actually was like a auditing geek. Like, that was their jam, was to audit stuff.
Yep.
Like that was what they thought of as a good time. Everybody's got their
was he also an
their
accountant?
niche, don't they?
Yes.
Yes. Nailed it. He was indeed an accountant. Anyhow. Yeah, it's never been my thing. I've always been whatever shiny and new, we'll play with that. Usually auditing doesn't come into the equation until the thing is built and it's somebody else's problem. Hence the open letter, John. We should write an open letter.
I write them all the time. No one reads them. That's the problem.
Here's the thing, though. I'm lazy. I'm going to use ChatGPT to write the open letter to denounce ChatGPT. HashiCorp Terraform ecosystem passes 3,000 providers. Hooray! Even number milestones.
So nothing magical or anything like that. Just an announcement that, an FYI. Hey, the Terraform marketplace is kicking it, and killing it. And they've got over 3,000 integrations there. So an integration, by definition, can be a variety of things. There are things like providers, which basically integrate with Terraform. There are things called run tasks as well. I won't go into the nitty gritty of it, but essentially there's over 3,000 integrations now listed up on the registry, which is fantastic. So congrats to HashiCorp. And if you're looking to automate your infrastructure, this is obviously a solution that is quite popular. HCL is the fastest growing language, quote unquote, on GitHub. And so a lot of folks are using this to stand up infrastructure very easily. But it's an interesting space, right? Pulumi's right there as well. So, it's just a lot of people are doing this. So a lot of people are automating their infrastructure through tools like Terraform. And so the good news here is that, they're doing well, and they've got a lot of integration across the ecosystem. So I think it's a good thing.
Excellent. TeamCity, JetBrains.
Yes.
They've got some new tools and stuff released this week, I saw.
Yeah, another CI system, obviously. And I know that folks who watch this are in the .NET space. TeamCity is a very popular CI system for that. So there's a lot of work that's being done in this space. So they've announced their Q1 to Q2 2023 roadmap. And there's lots of stuff that they're looking to build as part of their roadmap. So if you're at all interested, you can check out the UI. You can check out the blog post there. One of the bigger updates is that they've been working on this new UI system for their front end. It's Sakura. I always trip myself up. I think of Shakira. So every time I see that term, I think of, hips don't lie, et cetera, et cetera. But basically, the former model was based on JSPs. So TeamCity is a Java product, and they built the UI, because the reason why I know this is because we built an integration with this. In fact, Octopus is the #1 integration for TeamCity. But it was based on JSPs, and they're moving now to a more popular modern front-end model based around React, et cetera. And so Sakura, Shakira, whatever you want to call it, I've poisoned my own brain now. Every time I think of every time I think of this, I think of Shakira now. But Sakura, whatever you want to call it, this is the new UI model, and this is something that they've been working on for a while, and is coming to fruition, obviously, with TeamCity. There's a bunch of other stuff that they've got planned on their roadmap, but they're looking specifically around GitHub. They're looking to build, I think, their own GitHub app, if I remember correctly. I'm trying to remember what they have listed there, but lots of stuff happening relative to that space, which is great.
Nice. Yeah, I don't know if I can find it quickly or not. They have, I'm trying to remember what the Ruby editor is. That was updated recently as well.
They publish a bunch of IDEs. Blog, I guess. Yeah, they have a ton of IDEs. They have popular ones for Go and for C# and
there we go. PyCharm was updated. That may be the one that supports stuff, Ruby, actually. Yep. I know Ruby and Python have some similarities. It may be the same editor. I'm not sure. But
Rider is quite popular as well. Yeah, Rider is quite popular for C# developers, and the combination of that with ReSharper obviously kicks a lot of goals, as we like to say. So,
JetBrains has some great stuff. Make sure you check them out.
Yeah,
and then some announcements from GitHub Actions. Extension for Visual Studio Code. Nice.
Yeah, so this was always a community project for a while, and now they've made it official. So this is an extension that runs in VS Code to help you check basically the status of your runs. I've used this for months and months, and it's great. It's great. It's they've made it official now, but more to that, they add IntelliSense around the YAML you have to write when constructing actions. So actions are basically the workflows that you describe in GitHub to do work. So if you're going to do a build or you're going to do something, those are described in YAML. And as we know, YAML is not the easiest language to target because of reasons. And so IntelliSense around that certainly helps with the authoring process, because it's
language service in there providing some context as well.
Yes, that's right. So that it's 100%. So remembering what events I have to run, or what events I need to trigger workflows on, is always like, what's the name of that event again? Oh, that's right. So by shifting left and moving this more into the extension itself makes it easier for you to author these things, which is a great thing. So I'm a big fan of extensions like this. I think they help your developer workflow, and I would strongly encourage everyone to download and install this in VS Code.
Absolutely. I don't even use GitHub Actions that much, but I would definitely check this out.
You're not one of the 100 million. You're not one of the 100 million developers that GitHub has.
I'm not. I do GitHub. I just don't deploy stuff. I'm one of the few developers that doesn't really deploy anything. I just write awesome demos, John.
You just slap on the keyboard, ship software, and say, "Hey, you deploy it."
Yeah, exactly. All right. I saved the best for last. I didn't even put this on the agenda because I thought I might scare you away, John. But
God.
WWDC.
Yes, I saw this. Yes, I did see this earlier.
And what do you see in the rainbow here? Is there
Wi-Fi?
Is it Wi-Fi or is that an AR lens? Is that a hack your face goggle?
LiDAR.
Yeah, possibly.
You know what? I hope so. I hope they go all in and hack your face, and everyone's like, "What is this?" I mean, look, I'm happy to be proven wrong. I did not call the iPhone. I thought, really, people are going to use, like, why wouldn't you use your laptop? And I didn't see. The problem is the form factor back in the day. But sure, I'm happy to be proven. Look, I've always said I'm happy to be proven wrong. I just can't see it. I just can't see it happening. I can't see people wanting to shove something on their face and make live interactions really uncomfortable.
Yeah, I think if there's a company that's going to be able to release a device that's got some real capabilities, it's going to be Apple. As much as I dislike their
AR folks are always so apologetic for team. Like, listen, Meta's been at this for how long? And they people are, I don't know.
You know what Meta doesn't have though, John?
Okay.
It doesn't have in-house silicon production.
Gotcha. Yeah.
This M2 to M1 and M2 chips on your, in a visor.
I hear you.
Man, those
still hard to solve the battery problem though. They still have a battery problem. So
it makes it easier to solve the battery problem when your silicon device doesn't consume that much power compared to the competition. So that gives me some
hope.
As much as I dislike Apple, I'd love to see this AR VR space pick up some steam. And having an M2 chip inside of one of these devices, I think, could be a game changer. Okay. So we'll see. We'll see what
as a person who's worn glasses all his life, for people like you who don't wear glasses, I'm like, great, good. Now you'll understand what it's like. These things get dirty. You don't want them on your face. Certainly beats the Google Cardboard. Yes. Anyways.
AR was decent on Nokia Windows Phone. Was it though? That I have a talk on that, and that was in my tried but failed category of it broke ground, but was really poorly implemented. So one of the features I had was, no, this isn't a wooden phone, it's a phone stand. You would hold your phone up and look through it to, like, Google has this now with their Street View, but you're putting this thing in front of your face and looking to see where, something is. Like, it would show like pop-up bubbles of businesses and stuff.
Yep.
The problem is the bubbles would cover the storefronts where you couldn't tell what the hell you're looking at. It could be right in front of you and the bubble would be covering the sign. So it was kind of awkward. But,
the big difference.
It was way ahead of its time. Way
the big difference between that and the face thing? You can put your phone in your pocket. That's the big difference there. This is my whole beef, quote unquote, against AR. No one's gonna want to either take them on and put them on, take them off all the time. And even if you have it on all the time, everyone's going to be like, I don't want to talk to you, dude. Like, this is weird, So
one of the upshots, though, is AR doesn't necessarily have to mean on your face AR. And I mentioned that before. Like, it could mean it's audible or some other form of augmenting, your reality. One of the things that's neat with some of these navigation ones is you can implement like a haptic feedback. So you might have a device that's, a wristwatch or your phone in your pocket or something that's when you're approaching a turn walking and it's like buzz once for right, buzz twice for left type of thing. So you kind of get like these these cues of, you're navigating, but you're not holding something in front of your face. So, as you're walking straight, you got no response, but you come to a corner at a crossroads and it's like, okay, but it's buzzing twice. I need to turn right over here.
We have that. We have that.
So you don't always have to strap a map to your face. You could have, these haptic AR things as well.
You put on AirPods. You turn on your phone. You say, "Give me turn by turn."
Hey, don't hack my ears, John.
Look, I'll have this as opposed to this, because I hate my glasses. I hate wearing glasses. So the only reason why I put these on is because I have to use them. I can't see anything without them.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of having stuff on my face. I enjoy the things that can come from this technology. I think they're really cool.
All right. Maybe we should do a live streaming event where we watch and we give our commentary, because I'm more than happy to totally trash anything that comes around this space live.
Well, we'll have to see what comes out of this WWDC, and then if they ever release an AR set from Meta, still want to call them Facebook, I will definitely give that a try. And we'll
their name was more accurate. The previous name was more accurate. It is a face thing,
face device.
Maybe, yeah.
Maybe they should have just shortened it, like face. Just call it face.
Just face. Yeah.
That's all we got for the week, John. It's been a good one, though.
Yeah, lots of stuff.
Been good having you on the show again, John, as usual, and appreciate the input and commentary on all of our fun articles that we've got.
Ignorant views expressed. Yes.
Yes, all of them. Take care. We'll see you soon.